Hi all, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will see how to push a container image into a repository in Amazon ECR or Elastic Container Registry, and how you can retrieve the same image from the ECR to create new containers whenever needed. I'll also show you how you can create new images from the image stored in ECR. So let's begin by creating a new private repository in ECR. So let's go to ECR, Elastic Container Registry. Already a repository exists. We can create a new repository. So let us create a private repository. I'll give the name as, just to keep it unique, I'll include my name as well, Yunus Repo 2023. Let us leave most of the fields with default values, because we are only testing the basic functionality. Come down and just click on create repository. Click on the repository and you can click on view push commands. So these are the commands which we will be using while pushing your image into this particular repository. Either you can copy all these 1, 2, 3, 4 commands into a notepad, or you can leave it here and you can come back here whenever required. So I'm not copying it. I'll come back here and copy it whenever required. The next step is to launch a new EC2 where you can install Docker and create the image you want, and you can push that image from that EC2 into ECR. I'm going to launch an EC2. I will use Ubuntu Linux. Let me name it as Docker 2023. Ubuntu 22.04 is fine. Let us leave most of the fields as default. Keeper, you can choose something which you have already created. Or if you haven't created, click on create new key pair and create a new one. Come down. After key pair, under network settings, let us create a new security group, because we need to open port 2280 and 8080, because we'll use it during our exercise. So let me click on edit. VPC, default VPC is okay. Subnet, no preference. Auto assign public IP, yes, enable. Create security group. Here I will say ECR security group. Any name you can give, and here also I'll give the same thing, ECR security group, and SSH is already there. Let me add 2 more rules. One is for HTTP, so 80, source can be 0.0, which means from anywhere. One more rule I will add, which is custom TCP, and the port is 8080, source can be anywhere. So security group is ready. Come down, storage etc. can be same. No other configurations required, just launch the instance. So this will take a couple of minutes for the EC2 to come back in service. There is another EC2 which is running. Let me just stop it. For logging into this new EC2, you can open a command prompt, or if you are using a Mac OS, you can open a terminal. So I have opened my terminal. I need to wait for the EC2 to come back in service. Okay, looks like our new EC2 is running. So let me connect to that. Click on connect and go to SSH client, and you can see the connection string here. Copy that and open the terminal and go to downloads folder, because you would have downloaded your key pair into this folder, and paste that connection string. Enter. Yes. Okay. So we are already inside the new EC2. Now we need to install Docker. Before that, let me change the DNS name. I'm copy pasting some commands here. I will give you all these commands as part of the cheat sheet in the video description. Sudo hostname control set hostname Docker. That is the name I'm giving. So I've changed the hostname, but immediately it will not appear. What you can do is you can just exit and come back once again. The name has changed. So let me install the latest version of JRE, Java Runtime Engine, and Docker. So first step is sudo apt update. Okay, so the apt repository is updated with the latest versions of the packages. Now let me install JRE, and the next step would be to install Docker. Okay, Java is installed. Just check the Java version. Okay, it is running. Now we have to install Docker. For that, you can issue this command sudo apt-get install docker.io. Okay, so please check if Docker is installed. Yes, you can see that Docker is installed. Now add Ubuntu to the list of super users so that you don't need to issue the Docker command with a sudo prefix. So what I will do is sudo userbot add to group Docker Ubuntu. So Ubuntu will be added to that group so that you can issue the Docker commands without the sudo prefix. Okay, so now Docker is ready. You can create the images. What I am going to do is I will use the HTTPD or the Apache image which is stored in Docker Hub, and on top of that I will just add my index.html. So let me create my own index.html. vi index.html. This index.html I will create in EC2 and then copy it into the container image. And I'm going to copy paste. I will give this index.html also as part of the cheat sheet. Okay, so here you can see it just says hi there. We are learning Docker and ECR. Today's date is 16th April 2023. Any content you can give. I have just given some generic contents. Save and quit. Now the next thing is you need to create the Docker file. Docker file is the configuration file based on which the container image will be built when you issue the corresponding Docker build command. So let me create Docker file, vi Docker file, and just 2 lines I am adding. So there are only 2 lines from HTTPD 2.4. Basically pull HTTPD or Apache to base image from Docker Hub and copy the index.html which you just prepared into the document root of Apache 2. That's all we are doing, so that when you access this particular website, you will be able to see the index.html contents which you have added. Just save, quit. Now you can build the image using this command sudo docker build -t, and you have to give the image name. Enter. You can see that the image is getting created, and to see if the image is created you can just do sudo docker image ls -a. So you can see that whatever image you pulled from Docker Hub, that is there, and whatever you just created, that image is also there. Now we will just create a container from this image and we will test if it is working, and after that we will push it to ECR. So to create the container, let me use this command. So the command is sudo docker run. So I am going to run a container based on this image, my Apache 2 image. And the container name is Apache 2 web page. That is the container name. And we are going to map this EC2's 8080 port to the port number 80 of the container. Enter. So it has created the new container. So to see if this container is working, one is you can just issue this command curl http localhost 8080. Let us do that. And you can see the contents of the index.html, whatever you had included in the container image. Or alternatively, what you can do is you can go back to the EC2 dashboard and get the public DNS name. Yeah, this is the public DNS name. Copy that, go to a new tab. You have to enter 8080 as well. So you can see that whatever index.html we had created, that web page corresponding to that index.html appears here. Okay, now what next? We have to push the image to the ECR. For pushing the image to the ECR, you have to go and get the commands to push the image to ECR. From where will you get that? You have to go to your repository, click on repositories. You have 2 of them, Unus Repo 2023. This is the one which we created. Click on that and click on view push commands. So here it gives 4 commands. One is to retrieve an authentication token and authenticate your Docker client to your registry. So we will do that first. Copy this and go back to your EC2 and paste that. So it gave an error. That is because I did not install AWS CLI and I did not configure with my access key ID and secret access key. So let me do that. Sudo apt install AWS CLI -y. In the meantime, you can create your new pair of access key ID and secret access key. How do we do that? An easier way is you can go to security credentials, and this IAM credentials you can see. You have to come down and there is a access key part. Let me create a new pair of access key. Click on create access key. I'm going to use it only for command line interface. That's okay. It is giving some warnings. For the time being, let me just go ahead. I'm just giving some tag value. So it has created access key and the secret access key. So I'm going to change it immediately after recording this video. I'll change it. Otherwise, you are not supposed to show the access key ID and secret access key to anybody. It can create issues. Okay. So let me copy this and go back to my terminal and issue the command AWS configure. What I will do is I will give my access key ID and secret access key to this environment, so that whatever commands which I issue after this, it will be done on behalf of my user ID. Paste. Now I need the secret access key. Again, go back there, copy this, enter that. Region name you can leave it as none. Okay. Now just to see if you have correctly configured it, you can just do AWS S3 ls, just to see if you are getting a list of your buckets. You can do that. I'm not issuing that command, but you can do that. If you get the list of all your buckets, that means your configuration is correct. If you get an error, that means there is some error with your configuration. If you don't get any output, that means that you don't have any S3 buckets, but your configuration is correct. I'm not issuing that command. Now I'm going to repeat the same command for getting the authentication token. Let me use the up arrow to reach that command. If it fails, then we need to do one more step. Okay, it says got permission denied. So we can do one more thing. We need, for this particular file, we need to change the permissions. chmod 666 var run docker.sock. Now let me issue that command again. You can see that the login succeeded. So what next? I'm going to build that image once again using the command which is provided in my ECR push commands list. Let me go there. So it says please build the image once again. Let me do that. Docker build -t Unus repo 2023. Let me go by all these commands here. Okay. Issue this command. Docker build -t. I'm going to build that image once again. Okay. So now again, if you list all the images, docker image ls-a, you can see that Unus repo 2023 image is also existing. Now what is the command to push this image to ECR? Again, go back. First thing, you have to tag that image. So will you tag it with latest or will you tag it with something else? I'm going to go with latest. You can choose that. So let me go back to the terminal again. Let me tag the image. Okay. I have tagged the image already. So when you do the docker image ls-a, you can see that the new image, which is same as this image, that also exists, and this is what we are going to push it to the ECR. So let me go and get the command for pushing it. Copy and come here and paste it. I'm pushing this image into ECR repository. After this is done, we will go to ECR and see if it is present or not. So now let me go to ECR and check if that image is present or not. So here it doesn't show anything. Just refresh this. You can see that the newly created Docker image has been pushed into this particular ECR repository. We have pushed our image into ECR. Now in the next step, we need to create a container using the image stored in ECR. For that, again, go back to your terminal. You can check which are the images which are present here. Sudo is not required, I forgot. Docker image ls-a. Now here in my terminal, let us do some cleanup. Let me remove all the running containers and the images which are already present here. And after that, I will create a new container based on the image stored in ECR. So to see all the containers running here, just do docker ps. So there is one container which is running, which is corresponding to which is corresponding to this particular website. So let me go back to my terminal and I will issue the command docker stop and give this container ID. Then you can say docker remove. Now if you go back to that website and if you refresh, it will not work. Okay, let me go back again. So let's ensure that there are no containers which are running here. Docker ps-a, there are no containers which are running here. So let me create a new container using the image stored in ECR. Okay, for that we can list all the repositories which we have with this particular command. You can see there are two repositories which I have created. One is repo April 15 and repo 2023. So now let me see which are the images which are stored in the current repository. For that you can issue this command. I need to change the repository name. It is Yunus repo 2023. Okay, so you can see the image. So to create a new container using the image stored in ECR, you can issue this command. Okay, after this I have to give the URI of the image. So how do I get the URI of the image? You can get it by going into ECR and click on this latest. You can see the URI here. Just copy that and come back to the terminal and paste it. So basically it is going to create a container based on the image which is present in the ECR. It is done. So this container is running in the same host. So if you go back to that web page, it should work now. You can see that the container is running. So the next thing what we will do is we will use this container image stored in ECR to create a new image by changing the index.html file. Let us see how we can do that. For that, again go back to the terminal. So just do an ls. You can see that there is an index.html existing and there is a docker file. I'm going to create a new index new.html with slightly different content and I'll copy paste the contents. So you can see that it says this container is created from base image in ECR. That's the, and here it says image from ECR. That's the only change. Save it. Now let's also create a new docker file. Let me not edit the existing one. That way also you can do, but I'm going to create a new docker file. So vi new docker file. Here also there are only two lines. Okay, this the from image, this has to be replaced with the URI of the image, URI of the latest image. Let me do that. Copy this URI once again and come back to the docker file, paste, save, quit. Just do ls. Now you have a new docker file and new index.html file. Now let me create a new image. I'll call it new ECR image. Now here I'm specifying the docker file as well because docker file name has changed. It is not the default name. That's why I have to specify the docker file name. So I'm going to create a image called new ECR based image. I'll call it based image from new docker file. So it has created the image. You can just do docker image ls-a and you can see new ECR based image. Now I will create a new container based on this particular image. Before that, if any docker containers are running, let me remove it because I'm going to use the same port. That is why there is already a container running. What I will do is docker stop. I will do docker remove as well. Okay, now if you repeat the same command, you can see that there are no containers. Okay, now let me create a new container based on new ECR based image. And at this point in time, if you go back to that web page, you will see that this is not working. Yeah, because I killed that container. Okay, let us come back to the terminal and issue the command to create a new container. Sudo docker run in detached mode. And the name of that container will be my running app and the image used will be the new ECR based image which we created. Okay, the container is created and it is running now. If you go back to the web page and refresh this, you can see that it says image from ECR. This container is created from base image in ECR. And this image also, if you want, you can push this to the ECR. This is a new image. You can push this as part of cleanup. Please go ahead and delete the image, and you can delete the repository, and you can terminate this particular EC2 instance as well. Go to the repositories and let me delete this repository. I will delete the image, delete, and go to repositories, delete. I am deleting another repository, but I am just showing the process. So you can see that I have deleted that repository. Similarly, the EC2 where you are working, that also need to be terminated. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I'll come back with another useful topic soon. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks a lot for your support. Thank you. Bye.